Welcome to the Gals Guide podcast. Join us on an adventure to get to know famous and infamous women from around the world. Each of our presenters has a pick. Is she ancient history? Is she breaking news? Is she safe for work? Well, that's up to each presenter. All we know is that...
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Welcome back. I'm Katie, and I'm joined by Riwu, Debbie, and Bonnie sharing our American farmer pick. Riwu already talked about farmettes, Debbie talked about Harriet Williams Russell Strong, and Bonnie talked about Ruth Imogen Stout. Yes. I like that name as well. It's a good one. And I'm going to share my one interesting thing with you.
It can be cool, it can be interesting, it can be like weird. Yes, it's all good.
It's going to be something that I'm going to share with you. We learn something random about our gal pals.
Yes.
So my question is going to be, what is your favorite farmer's market food? Or favorite thing to buy at the farmer's market?
I can tell you what my youngest baby's is banana bread.
Oh, yeah.
And so we are kind of a connoisseur of banana bread throughout. Like, we will take a little sampling size of each one, and then we will come back and buy, like, fuller loaves or more. So that's usually what I'm looking for first. But I say for myself, if there is at the farmer's market a sausage, biscuit, and gravy, because I know that they woke up at like 4 a.m. and started making that gravy. It's so good at a farmer's market versus anywhere else. I don't know what it is, but like that's my favorite. Sausage, biscuits, and gravy.
I was setting up at an art fair once, and it was right next to where they had the farmer's market. And that farmer's market started at like 5 or 6 in the morning. I'm like, they gotta get up at like 4 in the morning to load, like,
yeah,
I was like,
that's a day.
But no, I never get to go to a farmer's market because they're always on Saturdays. I'm either working or at an art fair on Saturday.
Yeah.
So my favorite thing to get at Tuttle's Orchard.
Yes, Tuttle's Orchard. Once again, not at all sponsored by, but we would accept it.
They have a grilled cheese, and I think it has... It's got a couple different cheeses, and then it's got, like, some bacon, like light bacon, and it's on, like, the thick bread.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It's very tasty.
Probably, like, cut, you know what I mean? Like, the whole loaf, and then they cut the slice. Yes.
I need to find a place to get,
nummy.
like, hard cider for the fall.
Yeah, there you go.
I really want to find, I have never had a pawpaw, which is
I don't think I have either.
a fruit that you can grow here in Indiana.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what it looks like, but it's supposed to taste kind of like a cross between a banana and mango.
It's not like the Buddha's hand in the look, is it? The pawpaws?
It might have a little bit of that.
I think it looks like kind of avocado-shaped thing.
But like with a dent in it, I think. Almost like bean-shaped, but big.
Oh, okay.
And then it's supposed to be, I think, almost like a pudding consistency on the inside.
Pudding?
It's
Gotcha.
like...
Or the mushy like an avocado.
It's something. Like, it's not... It's kind of gooey in there.
There's a bunch of them on sale on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh,
no,
get
I've
you
been
some
hoping
pawpaws.
to find one at a farmer's market to try one.
Yeah.
And then I could grow my own.
Exactly. Katie might be able to hook you up.
Maybe. And, you know, I was going to tell you not on the podcast, but I'll just go ahead and tell you.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say it on the podcast because it's not open yet. They're still getting through some red tape to open it.
Yeah.
And I might have mentioned it before. A former student that I worked with, his family is opening the Woolly Yak Winery.
Ooh.
And it's going to have a petting zoo feel to it, I think. I don't know how much you're going to be able to pet them, but I know you can go see the yaks. And they have a whole bunch of, they have like very European strains of like pigs and goats, like the fancy ones.
Ooh.
Oh.
And so you're telling me I can drink booze
Yes.
and pet animals.
And
if
they're
they come up
friends
to
with
the
Katie.
fence. Well, I mean, we're not friends.
Okay,
But
all right, yes.
we're Facebook friends, if that counts.
That works.
But anyway,
Yes.
their farm is up in, I think it's Cicero or maybe a little north of Cicero, but they're selling pawpaws right now, too.
Oh,
So-
look at that.
But yeah, they just have,
Nice.
I think, some permits they have to get.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's going to be really cool.
Nice.
A really cool farm.
Yeah.
I like it.
Cool.
Sweet.
Well, I was
What is
gonna,
yours? Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say cider slushies because I
Yes.
love me some cider slushies.
Absolutely.
But my local farmer's market, which incidentally is on Thursday nights.
Oh.
So look
Ooh.
around. There are some that are not on
Is that
Thursday.
the one in Lawrence?
No, mine's in Brownsburg, but there's also the one in Whitestown is also Thursday nights.
Westfield's Thursday.
Yeah,
Ooh.
there's others that are on other nights.
Thursday became a half moon place. Look at that. Yeah.
But at my favorite one, I really they do Filipino food.
Yes.
And they do some lumpias.
Lumpia's my jam.
There's
yes.
and there's a designer soda
Ooh.
booth.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you pick your syrups combinations,
Oh.
and then they make you your own
It's like a soda jerk.
like a soda jerk.
Ah.
And with custom syrups, and they have recipes, or you can do your own, but the recipes are amazing.
Ooh.
I
And
think
it
they
is
had that
so,
at Gen
so
Con.
good.
I think they were a vendor there.
Yeah.
It was a
Ah.
custom soda.
So that was my
Yum.
my favorite thing, and it's very, very tasty, and I just don't even think about the sugar, although you can mix it with the diet if you want, but why?
Exactly.
But that's my favorite thing. there.
Just walk around the fair a couple times. You'll be good.
Right. Burn off those sugars real fast. Katie, what about you? Yeah.
Well, you know that I love cooking.
Yes.
So probably the things I enjoy are when they have like some really unusual produce that I feel like I don't see as often in the store.
Yeah.
Like in the spring, they have the garlic scrapes.
What are garlic?
Oh,
garlic
I
scrapes?
will save you, garlic scapes.
Okay. All right. Josh can grow some.
scrapes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What
It's if you
Yeah.
grow hardneck garlic,
Yeah.
which is the garlic you like can't braid
Okay.
because in the middle there's like a hard bit.
Okay.
So basically, like in the middle, instead of having those like 8 little teeny
The
tiny
little
cloves,
cloves.
there's like a stalk that grows
Oh.
up,
Oh.
and the hardneck garlic flowers in the spring, and it grows. It's like a dense green onion thing,
Yeah.
or
yeah.
like asparagus.
Kind of curls a little bit.
It,
too.
yeah, it grows up and it curls, and if you let it go, it would flower.
Yeah.
But if you're growing the garlic,
Yeah.
you want to cut that off.
Okay.
So then you get bigger bulbs of garlic, because then it's putting more energy into the bulb
Gotcha.
instead of flowering. But you cut those off, and then you eat them.
Oh.
Very tasty.
Ooh.
This sounds.
I like
delicious.
it. Exactly.
Safe
Debbie and I want to try.
I'm gonna.
good stuff.
We usually mix it in. We have a big old like stir fry.
Yeah. Yeah.
when
That
that
sounds
comes in,
perfect
it's
for it.
usually in like June.
Yeah.
And I'm I just got my garlic in the mail the other day because our garlic didn't survive the move in the containers. And I had to buy some more
Yeah.
of the same variety, and it's a hard neck because
Ah.
I've said the kind I've gotten is called music, and they're giant cloves.
Oh.
Because I'm like, screw it. Like
Yeah.
whenever we make
I'm using
a
my
recipe,
3-4 anyway.
and it's like
Yeah.
2 to 3 cloves. We're like, how about 20?
Right.
Like that sounds good.
2 to 3
So now
bulbs,
we're like,
maybe?
yeah.
Exactly.
So now since we had the big ones, we're like, well, now maybe we can follow the recipe with the giant ones.
Now
Oh.
proportions are
but
right.
it's hardneck garlic, and I'm hoping to grow
Ooh.
just a butt ton. And then instead of, we would make this huge batch of stir fry
Yeah.
with it was like half of it is garlic scapes. I think I'm going to freeze some this year instead
There you
of
go.
just
Priorities.
having
All of it.
ridiculous garlic scapes.
Nice.
I love that.
What other farmers market finds?
Oh, I like buying rhubarb from there. I know you can get that at the
Ooh.
grocery, but it's.
But it's better at a
I mean,
farmers market.
most things are better. I look
Yeah.
at the berries, but they always cost a fortune at the farmers market, so I
Yeah.
almost never buy them.
Yeah, it's fair.
The different varieties of lettuce, they're so much better than lettuce that's been
Yeah.
sitting around the grocery. And the other thing I like to get there are herbs to plant.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
always a stand that has like
Mhm.
starts of rosemary or things you can plant.
Yeah, there
So.
you go.
And tomatoes. I forgot tomatoes.
Yes, all the different kinds of tomatoes. Yep.
Indiana tomatoes rock.
Mm-hmm.
Store-bought tomatoes taste like disappointment.
Yes, they do.
That's a T-shirt Bonnie needs to
Oh,
wear.
it's a thing.
Okay.
Roots and Refuge is where I've heard the saying from, and I've been keeping my eye out because I need to get one for my uncle.
Oh, there you go.
Well, this is actually a pretty good segue into what I'm going to talk about.
Yay!
So the tomato queen.
I was gonna
No,
say.
no. That'd be pretty cool, though. No, I'm actually just going to be. I'm going to be introducing you guys to the three sisters.
Yay!
Do you know who the three sisters are?
I do.
I do
They
not.
do.
I thought you guys might. I thought Bonnie might. Tell him, Bonnie.
Corn. Shoot.
Wheat.
Beans.
It's a test.
Isn't it wheat?
Okay,
No.
The corn is the
Corn.
vertical.
Yes. The
And then I think
beans.
it's usually beans. Grow up the corn.
Yeah.
and then there's something that covers the ground.
Something
I'm gonna
with
say
big
squash.
prickly. Yep.
Oh!
Big prickly leaves.
There you go.
She
Look
got
at
it, and
that.
she already
Good
told you a
job.
little bit of the layout. But the three sisters, they are a form of companion planting that's been around for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
Yes.
So many.
You went back to the very first farmers.
I mean, it came from Mesoamerica is when this was
Yeah.
cultivated and started. So
Cool.
we're in the way backs for a
Yeah.
little bit.
Beautiful.
But it became really common for Native Americans to use this growing system, particularly the women
Yes.
in the tribes were responsible for the farming, which actually also gave them a lot of status and power. But we know
Yeah.
a lot of Native American tribes had very matriarchal
Yes.
structures to their society.
Or a little close to equilibrium
Equilibrium,
sort
yeah.
of thing. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
More so, right? So this is, like I said, a form of companion gardening. And as Bonnie was explaining, what happens is they first plant the corn.
Mhm.
And I'm a little bummed because I was like, okay, this just sounds genius. Maybe I can do this in my yard.
Yeah.
Usually the corn that's planted isn't like sweet corn, like eating corn.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit of a...
Wild corn,
Um,
something.
I mean, this was actually done in all parts of the United States by different Native American groups. So it was different varieties of corn.
True.
But it was generally corn that would be like really cooked down in a soup or used to ground up to make things out of corn, like tortillas, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. A flour.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked into how you could apply it to your backyard gardening. I'm sure you can. But I did read that, that sweet corn we all like to eat is a little too delicate for bean stalks to crawl up it.
Can't handle it.
I don't know. But yes, the corn is planted first, and then in about 2 weeks, when the corn's about 4 to 6 inches tall, they plant the beans next.
Gotcha.
And then they'll wait for them to take off for a little bit, and then they will plant the squash. And this works on so many different levels because, first of all, the beans get structure from being able to do the corn stalk to crawl, but the beans have a different kind of root too, so that they don't take away from the corn that needs more water. And they also produce, oh no,
Is it the off
I'm not
gas or something like that?
well,
or-
they add nitrogen to the soil,
Yeah, that's- okay,
which
yeah, there
helps
we
with
go.
the corn, but
Yeah.
more so like the next year. I mean, I think it does a little bit then,
Yeah.
but,
Right, fair.
but more so like sometimes some of the Native American tribes would not necessarily plant them as I just described, but maybe plant them in plots of like, here's your beans, here's your corn, here's your squash, and then rotate, and the corn would always go where the beans were
Oh,
to
okay.
get that nitrogen-rich soil.
Prehistoric crop rotation.
I know, right?
Right?
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
And the squash helped as well because it provided safety from animals because it's sticky. If you, yeah, it kind of has a prickly feel
like
to the leaves and
like a cat's tongue.
Yeah.
It's not, or a microfiber cloth.
Right,
Like,
right.
It's not.
oh, now that you said that, I don't want to touch microfiber, so guess I can never clean again.
Like the microfiber. It's like
Oh, chef star and I can never clean again.
Right?
Yeah.
Velcro-y. I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But it gave a little bit of protection, and it also shaded the dirt so less water was evaporated. It helped maintain
kept the
water in the
moisture.
soil, moisture for all of them.
Nice.
I think there's even like a handful of other things about this relationship that makes it so positive and works so well, but I
Yeah.
cannot remember every single gardening fact because
You're
they
good.
just do not stick in my mind. Like,
I'm also going, you could go another layer deep. Sorry, that's my pun. I'm trying to like the soil and go into
dig into
deeper.
it a little
Yeah,
more.
Exactly.
See
yeah.
what happens
That's
when sisters
nice.
work together.
Right. Well, they are called the Three Sisters because, well, I was like,
There's three of them.
what direction do I go first? No.
All of them at the same time. Go.
As I was saying, as I've explained, the Native Americans all in different regions, like we're talking the Southwest, up in New York, they all use this method, and they all called them the Three Sisters, but all of them had different origin stories for the Three Sisters.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
But overall, the thought was that sisters who would never be apart from one another, sisters who should be planted together, eaten together, and celebrated together.
Oh.
So it was also really common. Oh, that's the other cool thing about planting these three together is it gives you complete amino acids. The corn gives you carbohydrates, the beans give you protein, and the squash gives you vitamins and minerals.
So it's kind of like a balanced
So eating
diet.
all three of them together is, it really went pretty far for the longevity of these different tribes and places and being able to prosper having these three crops. They're extremely important.
They're
so
full,
of course they
rich
got
foods too.
right?
Like it'll stay with you for a while to go for your day. Yeah.
Now I want vegetable soup.
Oh, look at that.
It was really traditional too. I can't remember which tribe now would always do a corn chowder, like a corn soup. I'm like, I'll eat some corn chowder.
Mm-hmm.
I like
yes.
that.
Yeah.
But they all had different folklore and stories. The first legend I'm going to share, I feel like was made up by parents to scare their children.
I mean, you're probably not wrong.
So in this legend, there was a family with a mother, father, and three sisters. Through all of these, I read like 3 or 4 of them. All of them kind of described the sisters and equated their physical characteristics with what they represent in the story. Gotcha. So Corn's always the taller sister,
right,
standing straight with the blonde yellow hair,
right.
And then Squash is more kind of stout
round,
and strong, and
Roost stout. Yeah, there you go. Yes, and we're back.
And then the middle sister is always the bean, who's of average height in looks, but is beautiful in her giving nature.
Oh, that's very nice. I mean, they could have gone with Stinky.
Right.
But they did not.
So these 3 girls were always arguing and fighting, and they were never helping their parents.
Oh, no.
Oh.
So they would always fight, and when they were apart, they would complain about one another. So the work wasn't getting done, and the parents were worried that if they kept this up, they wouldn't make it through another winter. It was planting time and work to be done, but as usual, the sisters were too busy fighting. The parents needed help, and it was given to them, but not as they imagined. As the sisters argued in the field, they were transformed into 3 plants. The first, a long, tall plant with silk tassel-like hair. The second, a broad-leafed plant low to the ground. And the third, a medium-height plant with gentle vines. The plants, of course, were corn, squash, beans, the 3 sisters.
Oh.
So I feel like this is a little children be good, or you get turned into
Correct.
a crop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not that
I mean,
you're then tilled and
they may
planted
not have
and
actually meant it
cultivated.
that way, but I was kind of like, wow, what a tale to tell.
Not that parents would ever try to frighten their children into obedience.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Never.
The next one is an Iroquois legend.
Gotcha.
This was a creation myth where a sky woman fell down to the earth.
Yes. Sorry, any good
Right.
folktale that starts with a sky woman.
Sky
I'm
woman.
listening.
So she was peering through the hole in the sky, and she fell through it to the endless sea. However, the animals saw her coming, so they took the soil from the bottom of the sea and they spread it on the back of a giant turtle.
The giant turtle.
To provide a safe place for her to land.
That's another word for the Americas. Is the Turtle
The
Island.
Turtle Island, yes,
Oh, wow.
is now what we call North America. Sky Woman had become pregnant before she fell.
Oh, yeah.
When she landed, she gave birth to a daughter.
Of course.
When this daughter grew into a young woman, she also became pregnant by the west wind.
Well, that damn West Wind.
Yep.
Is just
It'll
so
get ya.
pretty.
Flying in from Greece.
Then, unfortunately, she died while giving birth to twin boys.
No.
Yes.
Damn it.
Sky Woman buried her daughter in the new earth. From her grave grew 3 sacred plants, corn, bean, and squash. The plants provided food for her sons and later for all of humanity.
That's lovely.
Yes.
Look at that. It's a beautiful
was really
little,
pretty.
bittersweet, beautiful,
Right.
magical. Yes, I like that one. And I don't think what was it, the east wind, the west wind? Was it
West
Zeus?
wind?
Was it Zeus?
I don't know.
And just giving very Greek mythology vibes.
Yes, exactly.
Someone getting pregnant as they're falling through the sky.
Yeah. Surprise Zeus. Every damn time.
I'll slip in a couple more facts before I tell you my favorite story and end it.
Yeah.
one thing is that they've studied this method, of course, and they found out that it has the potential to yield up to a 30% increase in its yield.
Oh, wow.
Gotcha. There you go.
Each of those
So you'll get
plants.
more of each of the plants if you plant them together.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Stronger
that.
together than apart. These three
Mhm.
sisters.
Strength in numbers, ladies. Strength in numbers.
I was going to say that's the other reason this kind of jumped
Yes.
out at me was I feel like that's what we talk about here in Gals Guide, lifting each other
Right.
up and supporting each other. So
Exactly.
we had to talk about the three sisters.
I love it.
So now I have a lot of information about corn, but that might be kind of boring.
It's
but
fine. It's Indiana. I feel like I feel like we get it a lot. Maybe our listeners don't know all of this great details about corn, and you're doing a wonderful service. We will just roll our eyes slightly
when we talk about corn.
Corn.
Well, I thought one of the things I did like learning, which I think I knew on some level, but how Native American tribes usually used the entire corn.
Yeah, I love that.
And, so many of our ancestors were better at that. I think it always intrigues me because I'm not so good at it.
Right. There's so
I
much.
frequently feel too wasteful with things.
Mhm. Mhm.
So when it came to corn, they would use the husks to make dolls. Have you guys seen those?
Mhm.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought
They're
about
kinda
it.
Cute and creepy.
I had
Right.
that for years.
Yeah, I'm surprised how well they hold up. Actually,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
They shredded the husks to make good kindling or filling for pillows and mattresses.
I could see that.
I don't think I'd want to sleep on a big
No.
mattress that smelled of corn, though.
I don't like the ones that have feathers in them.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
I
I
think
mean,
the
like-
Europeans were using like hay essentially.
Yeah, right.
So,
You're still getting the rustling and the smell then, yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The corn cob served as bottle stoppers, scrubbing brushes, and fuel for smoking meat.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
the corn silk made hair for corn husk dolls.
Yep,
Yep.
there you go. Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to change to my last legend. And I know this wasn't
Yes!
smooth at all, but hey.
No,
the
you're
three
good.
sisters.
No, that
I've made
was-
us all hungry.
That was
Mhm.
great. Yes. And for some reason I was thinking of like the corn hair. I always used to like try to imagine that I could floss my teeth with
Right?
it. It never worked.
Just
Like
got
it would
stuck
get
in your
it would get stuck in my teeth.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, why doesn't it work like floss? So in other words, corn can't be controlled.
Yeah.
It's gonna do what it's gonna do.
It can
Not
go in,
very-
it cannot come out.
Yeah. Oh, it comes out
Mhm.
sometimes the same way it
Well,
goes in.
in your teeth.
Yes, in
Mhm.
your teeth.
In your teeth.
Yes.
It stays there forever.
It does. Exactly.
And
As
then-
does popcorn too. Yeah.
Here in the Midwest,
Yeah.
we get so humid because of the corn.
The corn
The
sweat.
the corn sweats.
I'm still
The
I'm still not
corn-
100% on this corn sweat shit.
Like
But the humidity.
more moisture
yes.
goes in the air
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
because of the corn,
Sure.
and then just kind of hovers around.
Yep.
The corn sweats.
This is why we need more potatoes.
Yes. There you go. Because I can make vodka out of that.
You can make liquor out of corn.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
can make
say.
soda out of corn for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, exactly. You can alcohol out of anything.
If there's a will, there's a way.
And there's a will.
Yes, so I'm going to finish us up with the Cherokee version of the story.
Sweet.
And this was my favorite. It's a little bit longer, but why I loved it so much is it really describes the function of this symbiotic relationship between the three.
Plus, I love a good folktale. Bring
Right.
it.
Once upon a time, there were three sisters. The first was very tall and strong. Her name was Corn Girl.
Oh,
No.
Right.
Wait a minute.
that's a little on the nose. Though.
Yeah.
Yes.
She wore a pale green dress and had long yellow hair that blew in the wind.
Okay.
Corn Girl liked to stand straight and tall, but the longer Corn Girl stood in her field, the hungrier she got. And every day, more weeds were growing up around her feet and choking her.
No.
The second sister was very thin and quick and fast, and her name was Bean Girl.
Wait a second.
But she wasn't very strong. She couldn't even stand up on her own, and she was good at making food, but she just had to lie there stretched out on the ground, and she would get dirty and wet,
Okay.
which wasn't good for her.
Yeah, that's Fridays.
Yeah. The weeds bothered her too because she was not strong enough to keep them away. The third sister, Squash Girl, was short and strong. She liked to wander along the ground. She wore a yellow dress. She was stronger than the weeds, so they did not bother her. But the strong sun scorched her leaves. She was hungry too. For a long time, the sisters didn't get along. They each wanted to be independent and free and not have anything to do with the other two. So Corn Girl stood there with her feet hurting and got hungrier and hungrier. And Bean Girl lay there on the ground, fighting the weeds without success and just got dirtier and wetter. And the little sister, Squash Girl, was hot and hungry too. So Bean Girl talked to her sister Corn Girl and said, "What if I feed you some good food and you can hold me up so I don't have to lie on the ground and get all dirty?" And Corn Girl thought that this was a great idea. Then little Squash Girl called up to the tall sister, "How about if I lie at your feet and protect them from the weeds?" Corn Girl thought this was a great idea too. Bean Girl needed protection from the weeds too, and she offered to give Squash Girl food in return for weed protection. Both Corn and Bean Girls promised to shade Squash Girl's leaves from the hot sun. So the three sisters learned to work together so that everyone could be healthier and happier. Corn Girl helped Bean Girl stand up. Bean Girl fed Corn Girl and Squash good food, and Squash Girl protected her two sisters from the weeds from growing up all around them. And that's why the Iroquois, the Pueblo people, the Aztecs, and everyone in between planted their corns, their beans, and their squash together in the same field.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't it
It's
sweet?
like a lesson wrapped into a story. It's so cute.
It
and
reads like a-
farming. Yes.
I'm just imagining growing up being named Squash Girl.
Right,
Like,
exactly. Well, as somebody who is dressed up as the unbeatable Squirrel Girl, I completely support it.
But couldn't they go with like Cornelia?
Oh,
You
see.
know, like Beatrice.
Right. Maybe they were worried, that the third graders would lose the meaning.
Yeah.
So, yes. They keep it simple, like keep it on the nose sort of thing. But I agree, Cornelia would have been.
Yeah.
So I totally want Bonnie to try this planting arrangement and
Yes.
report back.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
in my head,
Yeah.
okay, the way that you grow corn, or at least the way that we grow corn now, you plant them close together. Because
Right.
the way that corn works is got the tassels, has
They pollinate each
has-
other or something like
yeah,
that? Yeah.
has the male part, and
Yeah.
it shakes down to the female, and you plant it in like a group instead of like a long row,
Right.
because it's wind pollinated, so you want it to be kind of concentrated.
Makes sense.
And I was just looking up
But
the
then,
three sisters, you plant them like 4 or 5 feet apart. So I don't know if
is it still like a
when
cluster
you-
of corn then, maybe?
it didn't sound. It sounded like each
Stalk.
a stalk, a bean, and squash. There's like one unit in each of those.
Oh.
Is 4 feet apart.
Do you need to hand pollinate?
That's
Sorry,
what
my husband
I'm-
watches way too many damn videos.
That's what I'm wondering, if they take one and hand pollinate the
Right.
others to get that to work.
Maybe.
Do they have to pollinate each other? Can they pollinate
I
themselves?
think they have to pollinate each. Well, because
Male and female.
So each one of the silks
Yeah.
goes down to each kernel of corn.
Yeah.
Like there's one silk to each kernel. So each one of those silks has to get pollinated to then turn into a kernel. So if they don't get pollinated all the way, that's when you get like funky corn that's like only half of it is kernels.
Sparse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um,
Bonnie's going to crack the code on this one, though.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if Katie remembers on the corner of our street the one corn.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Okay, so we have, it has been under construction, so it is no longer there. But somebody planted a single stalk of corn
Oh,
on the crosswalk. So in that little tiny square that is basically city
Yeah.
property between the sidewalk. And then somebody decorated it with wasn't it a fake pumpkin? It wasn't a real pumpkin. Do you remember the pumpkin?
I do not remember the pumpkin.
There was something
which makes me
orange.
sad.
Right. It was adorable because
It
it
was,
was decorated for Halloween last year. So a single stalk and, of course, no corn coming out of this thing because it wasn't pollinated.
Yeah.
it's
But it was adorable.
it may not be this thing that looks a lot like corn.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember how you pronounce. It's like sorghum.
Sure.
Or something.
Sorghum?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very common
Okay.
thing that you put in bird seed.
Okay.
So it likes to
And it could have been.
be everywhere, but it grows and it looks like it has a thing.
Yeah.
It has tassels on the top, but I
Yes.
don't think it makes like ears.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
this
it's-
one was not.
But
going
it
to.
does get really tall, and it does look a lot like corn.
It's
People
green.
were kind of grieving when they did the construction and we
Yeah.
lost our little cornfield. And I'm using finger quotes because one single solitary
Yeah.
thing on the corner of like 17th Street and Connor. No, that had to be 16th and Connor.
Yeah,
Yeah, 16th
that's where it
and Connor.
was.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was hilarious.
Is that why it was so hot this summer?
Yes, that was so hot. Because of the construction, we lost that
Yeah.
single non-ear of corn that was on our corner. But this is our town.
This is why I miss living here.
It's so silly. You find corn anywhere, or the idea of corn
Yeah.
anywhere. Oh my goodness. Did you want to wrap us up
Yes,
for the
certainly.
month? Oh my goodness.
That wraps up American Farmer Month. Next week, we travel to a vibrant continent of jungles, animals, and carnivals. It's South America Month. Thanks for listening.
Yay! Want to learn about more women of history? Gals Guide opened a unique women's history lending library. Come visit and explore our collection. Learn more at galsguide.org. Thanks for listening.